the reason this is a massive setback for Robert Vadra and Maureen Vadra is because for all these years from 2012, when the deal was signed and after which a case of money laundering was filed by the Enforcement Directorate, the Congress party has maintained that this is an attempt by the central agency to go after the Gandhi family because it's a Gandhi family damad. They have called it a case of vendetta. What is the case? Let's first understand the case that we are talking about. This is a 2012 Bikaner land deal in which Robert Vadra and his firm Skylight Hospitality is involved. It is very simply this. Skylight Hospitality purchases a land for 72 lakh rupees. Notice the amount. The land is purchased in Bikaner for 72 lakhs. And guess what? The land is then sold at a 615% profit for 5.5 crores. This money, according to the Enforcement Directorate, this is the allegation, was then round-tripped. Money laundering happened, according to the agency. And during the course of the investigation, a plea was filed by the Vadras to quash the case. Today, the court in Rajasthan has quashed that plea, not the case. And in doing so, the court has indicated, obviously, that there is merit in the Enforcement Directorate's case, which is why, Siddharth, we must underline that this is a massive setback for Robert Vadra. Tehseen Poonawalla is also with us. In fact, Tehseen has been on Times Now whenever we've discussed this story. Tehseen Poonawalla, what do you make of the court order?
Prima facie, Pranesh, you have to respect and bow down to the majesty of the court. So I bow down to the majesty of the court. And now, since the court has refused to quash it, the investigations will continue. And I hope it will reach a conclusion. Because you remember, Pranesh, I was on Times Now in 2014, April, when Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad ji said, I have evidence in my pocket. That press conference at Times Now covered it live. And what happened subsequent to that? Of course, in another case, the matter went to 4 courts, Pranesh, 4 constitutional courts. Allahabad High Court, Delhi High Court, Supreme Court. All 4 cases in the Haryana land case. Threw it out. CBI under Modi said there is no evidence when it went. And same there, the FIRs initially didn't get quashed. Matter went to 4 constitutional courts and it got thrown out 4 times. Similarly, justice will prevail here. If you had evidence in your pocket, you should have acted. They've acted nothing. They have nothing. But you know why they're being vindictive against Robert Vadra now? Because Srimati Priyanka Gandhi Vadra defeated the Honorable Prime Minister in Himachal. Prime Minister in Himachal said, vote for me, don't vote for a BJP candidate, and Himachal is my second home, and BJP lost. So now they're vindictive. Let them be vindictive. We have faith in the courts of our country. Nothing will come out. Nothing. 4 courts threw it out.
But how is this a case of vindictiveness, Mr. Poonawalla, Siddharth here? How is this case of vindictiveness when the court itself has seen enough merit in order to proceed with the investigations and therefore refused to quash the plea on the part of Mr. Vadra? The primary plea on the part of Mr. Vadra was to completely do away with the case altogether against him. The court has refused that for the time being.
Yes, and that happened in the Haryana case as well. And in the Haryana case, like I said, and I'll repeat, it went to 4 constitutional courts. Fact check me. Allahabad, Delhi and Supreme Court. Delhi, it went to the High Court, Chief Justice as well. All 4 constitutional courts threw it out. So prima facie, they didn't quash the court case there because the belief is that the investigative agency will have something substantial. Like in the Haryana case, there was nothing. Here also there is nothing. In fact, Rajasthan police is on record under Vasudha Raje to say actually Mr. Vadra is a victim in the Bikaner case. Then they changed it under political pressure. And that story was also broken by Times Now and Times of India. So let them do their vindictiveness. Nothing's going to come out of this. Like 4 cases were thrown out of 4 constitutional courts in Haryana, it'll be thrown out. Where is that evidence Ravi Shankar Prasad ji said he had in his pocket? 2014, we're now in 2022. And just when Priyanka Gandhi Vadra defeats Prime Minister Modi in Himachal...
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Tehseen. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm glad that in the beginning you said that you bow down to the majesty of the court. We all should. We're all only following what is the due procedure. I want to, before I get a response from you again, and I have a question for you, a direct one, let me quickly go through the charges so that our viewers get the context of the Bikaner land deal. This is a 2012 case. Charge number 1, men used, and the Enforcement Directorate is saying this is not the Times Now allegations. Men
Yes.
used as conduits by Vadra's firm. This is charge 1 by the Enforcement Directorate. Charge number 2 by the central agency is that fraudsters colluded with government officials so that Vadra's firm Stylite could get benefits. Charge number 3 by the Enforcement Directorate is that Vadra's firm made unusual profits, the 615% profit or the alleged profit that we are talking about. Charge number 4 by the central agency is that forged papers to grab land. Papers were forged to get a land at a cheap rate. Charge number 5, land allotted in name of fictitious people. Benami transaction. Benami deal is what the Enforcement Directorate had called it. The next charge, grabbed land meant for displaced persons. Now, Tehseen, you would remember that on charge number 6, that this was a land meant for displaced persons. BJP has in the past also taken out protest march. Then the Congress said that when this case goes to court, this will be thrown out. But that is not what has happened today, Tehseen.
No, it will be thrown out in court when it goes to trial, like the earlier Haryana cases. But let me just tell you, on this land allotted to fictitious people, this part is the Rajasthan government's responsibility, which was under Vasundhara Raje. Because that part, the people who it was allotted to, are the people who were fraudulent. And this is what the Rajasthan police put out, and then under public pressure, then they withdrew it. But that part is for the Rajasthan government. But I just put one more thing out. Let's assume that this is a fraudulent transaction with Benami people. Let's assume that. So whoever the Benami should have been arrested in 8 years. Let's agree to that. Has the ED even arrested those Benami people? And the ED has a 0.25 conviction rate.
Okay,
they prove
Tehseen, just hold your thoughts. Siddharth, you have
also,
RP
in
Singh,
fact,
the
we're
national
getting a BJP
spokesperson.
perspective. We're getting an official BJP response following the court order. Mr. RP Singh joins us for his view on this. Mr. RP Singh, how do you read the order of the Rajasthan High Court, which is basically dismissed a plea by Mr. Robert Vadra to quash the case against him?
Well, Mr. Singh Poonawalla seems to be above the court. He thinks that he is above the High Court. He's probably the Supreme Court of the India, and whatever he says is right. But we have to go by the court order. I mean, if they have rejected the case, then the prosecution will happen against Mr. Vadra, and if they have a right to go to higher court. Let's see what happens in higher court. But as it seems, the fraud has happened, and there was a collusion between the Benami people on whose name the property was bought, and profits were made by Mr. Vadra. This seems apparently as per the order. But let's wait. I mean, if they can go to higher court and get it quashed, they have all the right to go to higher court and get it quashed. But yes, you can't pass the verdict against the court saying that, oh, I feel so. It's not that my feeling or Mr. Poonawalla's feeling or anyone else feeling that, yes, I feel so it is not this way.
Right, Mr. Singh, stay with us because Tehseen Poonawalla is also with us. Mr. Poonawalla, you
Just 1 minute. I have to say
added
one
a caveat
thing.
right at the outset by saying that you bow down to the majesty of the court. However, Mr. RP Singh believes that you're trying to arrogate to yourself the powers of some kind of an appellant authority to dismiss the findings of the court. What's your response?
No. I totally bow down. The court has ruled, and now there's no option. Either Mr. Vadra goes to a higher court or he fights the case. Is there a third option? None of us have a third option. But I just one question for Mr. Singh, very humbly. Will he bow down before the Honorable Allahabad High Court, Delhi High Court and Supreme Court that found Mr. Vadra not guilty on 4 counts? And let me quote what the Supreme Court said. This is no less than the Chief Justice. He says, the allegations against Mr. Vadra are preposterous and are politically motivated. Now, obviously, this was done by the BJP. Will he bow down before the Honorable Supreme Court? And now will the BJP apologize for Haryana? I'm ready to say that Rajasthan should be under trial. I'm ready to say that. Will they apologize for Haryana? Let's put it out here.
Mr. Singh?
Can I answer that?
Yes.
Well, why try to juxtapose one case against the other case? There are different cases happening in different courts. And being a list of suspect because one court has given clean chit, so there's another court will also give him clean chit. Let's wait. I mean, they had a good chance to go to. They tried their best in the High Court. Let them go to higher court and challenge it. But till that time, they don't get a relief from the court. It's taken as granted whatever court has said. We have to accept the court order.
Okay, Mr. Poonawalla, coming back to you, of course, this is a long pending case, and you're right about the fact that in April 2014, this was also referred to in a press conference on the part of Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad. That's when they had come out with an entire dossier on Mr. Robert Vadra. However, given the fact that this matter has continued for a significant amount of time, dating back to 2018, 2019 as well, when the ED first took charge of this case, the very fact that 4 years on, the court has still found a prima facie basis to not quash the entire matter and continue the investigations on the part of the Enforcement Directorate, does this not place Mr. Vadra on the back foot with regards to the perception as well that there is something in this particular matter that actually ought to be investigated by the central agency?
No, it doesn't, because even in the other case, and Mr. Singh is right, he should not compare two cases, but even in the other cases where BJP accused him of corruption, the court prima facie refused to quash it and ultimately threw out the cases. So you see, when CBI and ED investigate, the lower courts generally think that they have something substantial. It's just one simple question. Since Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad or Uma Bharti ji had proof in their pockets, why haven't they been able to produce that proof? After 8 years or 9 years, when the Prime Minister lost to Srimati Priyanka Gandhi Vadra in Himachal, suddenly you're coming up with some sort of evidence and nothing is defined. If all these evidences that are being put out now have been put out before and nothing has come out of it. For example, let me go to a third case. Remember that house in London? What happened about that? 12 years now that we know that there is no house in London now. It's subsequently proved. They just keep coming up with allegations. Every time they are in trouble, the BJP, they have to hit on Robert. So let them hit. No problem. The court will ultimately, the court has to decide. None of us are above the court. Prima facie case has been accepted. Now he's still innocent until proven guilty. Let the trial continue. We'll see what happens.
Of course. Let's also go across to my colleague Aishwarya, who's actually been reporting on this matter from the field as well. Aishwarya, a setback in completely categorical terms, at least so far, for Mr. Robert Vadra. His primary plea was, of course, to quash the entire matter. That has not been accepted by the court. What are the sources telling you from within the Congress about how the party is perceiving this particular development?
Well, as far as Robert Vadra, Maureen Vadra and Mahesh Nagar is concerned, they had moved to the Jodhpur High Court seeking stay for any kind of coercive action by the ED. Remember, today Jodhpur High Court had put a stay on any kind of coercive action, and remember in 2019 the petition was moved, but later today in the Jodhpur High Court, it is a setback for Robert Vadra as the plea for quashing the entire case had been rejected. Currently, I am standing right outside Robert Vadra's residence, and there you can see his car is parked outside, and during a hearing the Enforcement Directorate had asked that they need Robert Vadra for the custodial interrogation, but it has not been granted. Today it's a kind of relief for Robert Vadra, because for the next 2 weeks he cannot be arrested, and that's what the Jodhpur High Court had also mentioned. But the Enforcement Directorate earlier, remember, registered a case of the Enforcement Case Information Report in the alleged Bikaner land scam, and the probe is related to purchase of 257 bighas of land allegedly by the company in the Kolyat area of the border area district. It has been also alleged that it was the benefit of Robert Vadra, which he purchased the land of just rupees 72 lakhs of 69.55 hectare. He later, after 2 years, sold it to 5.55 crores, and there was a direct benefit of 4.43 crores. There was a case that was registered on the plea made by the local Tehsildar, and therefore Enforcement Directorate registered a case, and FIR was also registered, but certainly a setback. How the Congress party is reacting to it is in the old fashion. They are clearly stating that the central government is trying to use these investigative agencies, and this is directly attacking the Gandhis and people related to the Gandhi family. They have again went on to say that all the investigative agencies are working as far as what the central government wants and what the BJP wants, and therefore the reason perhaps such cases are registered. They have clearly said that all such cases are completely biased and they have no relation to it. But certainly now the Jodhpur High Court coming out in open and stating that they won't allow this prayer that Robert Vadra had put put, and his mother has also put, to quash the enforcement case information report, but some sort of release as for next 2 weeks he cannot be arrested. That's what also Jodhpur High Court had mentioned.
And Aishwarya, like you rightly said, there's an interim protection from arrest for a period of 2 weeks, but this is not something new for the simple reason that he's consistently obtained this relief from the Rajasthan High Court ever since this matter has been under the purview of the ED for the last 6 years. And even in 2019 and 2018, he received interim protection from arrest for a temporary period of time. So therefore, comparing it, of course, to the massive setback that he's managed to in fact receive in this particular matter, the interim relief is only something that is temporary. It still remains to be seen as to what the ED does from here on in order to further press its case against Robert Vadra. Let me take this back once again to Tehseen Poonawalla. Tehseen, politically speaking, this is something that's actually going to represent a bit of a problem now for the Congress, because we'll come back to Tehseen in just a bit. Let me take this across to Pranesh as well. Pranesh, of course, you were taking our viewers through the background of this particular case, but had the proceedings in the Rajasthan High Court gone completely the other way, the Congress would have called it vindication and confirmation of the fact that there's vendetta. The Congress for now cannot claim that for the simple reason that the FIR has not been quashed.
You know, Siddharth, you heard the response from Tehseen Poonawalla. We are also awaiting a response from Jairam Ramesh very shortly on this. But let's look at this politically.
Yes.
Like I said, at the cost of repeating myself, I want to say that ever since this case has been registered by the Enforcement Directorate, there's also, remember, will Robert Vadra be arrested? We are also trying to get in touch with lawyers. Top legal experts will now be joining us on the phone line to put this in context, that after 2 weeks, what are the options, both for the central agency, Enforcement Directorate in this case, and for Robert Vadra. We are also, Siddharth, awaiting a response from Robert Vadra himself. The moment it comes out, Times Now's reporters will put him a direct question, because even Robert Vadra in the past has said that, look, this is only a ruse to harass me. Because I am attached to the Gandhi family. But all of this has obviously not played out in the court in Rajasthan, because had it played out, the plea of Robert Vadra and Maureen Vadra would have been accepted and the case by the Enforcement Directorate would have been thrown out.